The title of my talk today is Dissolving Labels. And I'd like to start with a quote from the book After the Ecstasy, The Laundry by Jack Kornfield. He said, awakening dissolves the labels we have put on our experience. A mature heart knows the dimensions of egotism and sin, but it also holds our humanity in a larger reality, one of original blessings and basic goodness. It rests in our divine nature. You know, have you ever thought about this idea of unity? How come we teach that there's only one thing going on, and that's God? How can we say this in the face of so much suffering and pain, so much evil, seemingly? So many bad things, bombings and religious persecution and genocides. So many things going on in our world. And yet here we are, standing with our little torch, saying God is all there is. Saying there's only one life. That life is God. That life is good. That life is my life now. That life is all life. How can we say that? Are we like a bunch of Pollyannas? I used to say to people, it's not like we're painting the garbage can white and then saying, go out and lick it because it's really an ice cream cone. It's not that kind of naivete. We're talking about a greater reality. I think Einstein was the one who used the term unified field. He felt that underlying all of the phenomena, all of the laws of nature, all of the study of physics and biology and brain chemistry and all the different sciences, that there was what he called one field. There was something from which everything sprang. And this something contained every single possibility. So here's the thing about good and evil. And here's the reason why we should take all labels off of everything. There really is only one thing happening, and that is God. And within that oneness, all possibility exists. And this is the thing that throws people. I believe, and all the great spiritual teachers believed, that goodness, love, peace, beauty, harmony, wholeness, balance, abundance, that these are the expressions of the divine nature. Why then, Ernest Holmes said, why is humankind poor, weak, and afraid? When the divine truth, the divine plan, if you will, is one of freedom, not bondage. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. There is no such thing as evil. Everybody go like this. Ugh. Come on now, show your doubt, come on. A hostile crowd is an involved crowd. What there is good, God. That's it. And evil is nothing more than a diminished awareness of good. Evil is nothing more, I'm going to say it again, a diminished awareness of good. When the awareness of God, when the awareness of good arises, evil disappears. Darkness can never cure darkness. Only light can cure darkness. And when you bring a candle into a dark room, the darkness doesn't argue with it because it has no essence in and of itself. It has no identity. It's not a person. It just disappears. God is all there is, and the awareness of God dissipates the experience of anything else. This is such an important truth. I'd like to share with you a little bit more from this wonderful book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry. He said, when we first enter the spiritual path, we often speak of overcoming obstacles, necessary striving, the purification of defilements, and the ardor of seeking God. But this language, though it may once have served us, can become excessively one-sided, setting one thing against another. worldliness against freedom, self-will against God's grace, sin against redemption. It is a language built upon exclusion. With the awakening of wisdom, the heart gradually expands to hold the full paradox of life. As Walt Whitman writes, I am large, I contain multitudes. In the mature heart, there arises a deeper perfection that is not opposed to the things of this world, but holds them all in compassion. Our spiritual life becomes more about mercy and loving kindness than about struggles over self or battles with ego or sin. Our heroics become a fearless love for the whole of creation, leaving nothing out. Evil is only a diminished awareness of good. It's not a person. If you are readers of Bible or the Quran or other spiritual scriptures, substitute the word ego for Satan or the devil. Okay? Just take it out for a test drive. If you understand that egoism is all about me and mine, I, me, and mine, as if I were separate from the whole of life, as if I could just take my little bag and say, I don't need God, I don't need you, I don't need anything else. I can do it all because I've got rhythm or whatever it is that you think you've got. It's almost like you have this vast ocean and a lot of little waves rising up out of it, or big waves. What if one of those waves got its little suitcase and said, I'm so out of here, I don't need you, ocean. Yeah, I can have a separate identity from you. That's just silly. The wave is a direct expression of the ocean, forever connected to it, forever comprised of it, forever empowered by it. And that's the truth of its existence. It has no existence outside of the ocean, but it is expressing ocean. And that's our relationship to the divine. There is no something else. There's not God and something to fight with God. That's a myth. It is a myth that has illustrated that when we think that we have a separate existence outside of the divine, that is when we open the door to an experience of duality, to an experience of right and wrong instead of just right. You know, a lot of us have been exposed to the biblical story of Adam and Eve, and you know how they were in the garden. Those of you who don't know this story, you can take a little nap. But Adam and Eve were in the garden, and God said, you may eat of all the trees in the garden except for one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And so this is the mythological story, and so of course, that's the tree they wanted to eat of. Or at least that they weren't all alone in that. An egoistic idea came up. If we eat of this tree, maybe we'll be as good as God. Maybe we'll be as powerful as God. Maybe we can go off on our own. We won't even need God because we'll know everything. It's that idea of dividing things. It's the idea of division, of duality, of God and something else. As long as they were in their innocence, they experienced themselves as one with God, one with each other, one with all the plants and animals and fruit, and everything was wonderful. But the minute they began to use this dualistic, can I say that again? What was I trying to say? Duality. A dualistic way of seeing life. That's the moment that they experienced guilt and fear and separation from God and separation from good. It opened the door to the diminishment of the awareness of themselves as perfect, of the awareness of themselves as part of that ocean of goodness, of love that we call God. Ernest Holmes said, we must instill into the mind the fundamental proposition that good is without bounds. Only good and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. We must get this concept. Rather than continuing to think that there is a power of evil as opposed to the power of good. We experience good and evil because we perceive a presence of duality rather than a presence of unity. There's a wonderful meditation. Like, let's say that you are in this experience of life, and some things you call good and some things you call bad. It's so human. It's so normal. When we're living on the level of the ego, and we're seeing everybody as separate from us, and we're seeing the plant as separate from us, and the animal as separate from us, and some of the things we like and some of the things we don't like, and sometimes people hurt our feelings, and sometimes they're nice to us. And sometimes, excuse me, my hair is like a wild animal curling on top of my head. I have to get it out of my face. Somebody said, why don't you ever wear your hair down? I go, give it half an hour and you'll understand why. It'll just be... But anyway, sorry, I got distracted. I got distracted. Yeah, we experience ourselves as separate from one another. You know, we sing a song frequently here. It goes, we are one. Everybody sing it that knows it. We are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come, for we are one. You know, it's a lovely thought, isn't it? How many of you have somebody in your life that just drives you right straight up the wall? How many of you have ever had someone like that? How many of you believe that people from another religion are evil, that they need to be cast into outer darkness and gnashing of teeth, etc.? How many of you believe that the rich people are bad? How many people believe that the poor people are lazy, slothful people? Yeah, we have all these divisions. We have all these categories that we want to put people in. But I want to share with you that if you are willing to know the highest truth about everything and everyone, you will experience complete healing in your life. And a song of joy will begin to sing itself in your heart, and it will never stop, because you will be connected with the highest truth. You will be in the ocean, empowered by the ocean of divine love. So I want to have a little experiment with you. Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a very famous Vietnamese monk who just barely escaped from Vietnam with his life, he went to France, and he started a place called Plum Village. And he has this wonderful meditation where you're in a beautiful lighted room. And the lovely windows, it's airy, you can see the flowers and trees outside, and there's a beautiful silver tea setting, a beautiful silver teapot, and beautiful cups and saucers, and a little plate of delicious crumpets and scones and stuff. And this house has a basement, and in the basement are all the people that have ever hurt you, all the people that you believe are bad, all the nations that you believe are bad, all the religions that you believe are harmful. And so in the basement, they're all locked up. And so his meditation is for you to go down in the basement and pick one person and bring them up into the light. Don't say anything, just bring them up and have them sit down and serve them a beautiful, nice cup of tea and offer them one of the scones, the crumpets, and let them be in the light. Let them be in the beautiful house filled with airiness and lightness and the fragrance of flowers, and just let them sit there with you and entertain them in the sense that you are going to be with them and you want them to enjoy themselves. Now, when the tea party is over, you can take them back and lock them in the basement again if you wish. But if you have experienced that unity with them, then you can allow them to stay. You can allow them to stay up in the beautiful room or to walk outside. You allow them to go free. And his philosophy is this: as we bring each person up from the basement, what we're really doing is we're bringing them all up into the experience of the oneness. This can be done with anybody that's dead or alive, anybody that you need to forgive, anybody that you need to change your attitude toward, because it's all one. They're all part of the ocean. And the thing that they need in order to realize this, whether here or on the other side, is your love, your forgiveness, your willingness to absolutely declare in the face of whatever has happened, we are one. We are one. The willingness to know the highest truth on behalf of all people, all experiences. That's why I wrote that song, This Too Is God. This too is God, this too is good. As I am able to see it, this too is God. If God is all, and if good is all, the experiences of loss, disease, divorce, failure, suffering, if you look at it and you say, somehow, some way, this too is God. As I am able to see it, this too is God. I open my heart to receive it. There's good here. There's a wonderful minister. Her name is Johnny. Tell me who was that lawyer that defended O.J.? Johnny? Okay, good. I got the right name. I can always get her name and his name mixed up. Her name was Johnny Coleman. She was a big, tall, black minister and had a church of I don't know how many thousands back east somewhere. I think it was Chicago. And she said, I call everything good. I call everything good. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Good, 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 good. I call everything good because I like my lifestyle. She says, as I call it good, the good reveals itself. As I call it divine, the divine reveals itself. It doesn't matter what it looks like at first. She said, I've taught myself to do this. No matter what it is, I call it good. You have the power to actually transform and to call forth beauty, to call forth wholeness, to call forth abundance, to call forth peace. You have the power. But if you continue to eat from the tree of good and evil, if you continue to believe that there are two powers, somehow that God, the infinite, the all-powerful, the Alpha and the Omega, has somebody that can fight with it, a little sword fight with God, that's a child's story. That's a myth. What it really is trying to reveal to you is that the infinite is available to us to free us from the shackles, the bondage of believing in evil. Remember, evil is simply a diminished awareness of good. I once saw a film, I think it was called The Walking something. Anyway, it was about a nun who was assigned to be the spiritual advisor to a man on death row who had killed a couple in a very heinous way. And she kept insisting that he was sacred. And he would try everything in his power. He would be vulgar. He would be insulting. He would try to be sexual with her. He would try to do everything he could to put this evilness forward so she would believe in it. And she refused. She only believed that he was God in a form. And at the very end, towards the end of his life, she finally got through to him. And she said, I love you. And that's the only reason why I keep coming back in spite of all this filth that you throw at me. And in spite of your very deep belief in your own evilness, I know that it's a big lie. It's a big front. That the truth is, you are God in a form, and you cannot be anything else because God is all there is. Well, the guy finally just broke down and cried. And what he revealed was that was the truth. The truth that he had all this false idea about himself plastered onto his consciousness. And because he believed in evil, he acted out evil. And he experienced himself as evil. But the underlying truth was he had a diminished awareness of good. He had a diminished awareness that it's all God. That included him. That there was no way this little wave could get up, take its suitcase, and walk off from the ocean and have an independent life. There was absolutely no way. And this is the big truth that we need to know about all people, all experiences, even our own experiences of suffering or disease or loss or financial challenge. We need to know that God is good no matter what, that God is available no matter what. Ernest Holmes says a belief in duality, a belief in the power of good and the power of evil has helped to destroy mankind, and the understanding of unity alone will heal him. All life is one, and God is the one life in which we all live. Our life is from spirit, not matter. This viewpoint is the truth, and truth alone makes us free. We come into everlasting life as we elevate this inner principle, this concept of our unity with God. This concept is glorious, and the reward is certain. The revelation of the self to the self. This is the great lesson of all lessons. So no matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter who has done what to you, no matter what challenges you face with people that seem to be less than holy, less than kind, less than peaceful, if you will make a commitment to take all labels off of everything, all labels, and begin to say, this too is God. Say that with me. This too is God. This too is good. As I am able to see it, this too is God. All that I see, all that I hear, all that appears in my life, it is divine, perfect, and right. It's part of my awakening. Yeah, everything that is happening in your life or has happened or will happen is part of your awakening. Then once you awaken to the truth of the all goodness and all divinity, a lot of stuff just goes away. A lot of the stuff that we call evil, struggling, disease, disaster, deliriousness, all those things that start with D, begin to disappear because you're walking in the light. I had a prisoner one time that I was working with, and he was a very devout man in his own religion. And he asked me one time, why don't you ever talk about the devil, Satan? And I didn't want to disturb his faith in any way or get into an argument, a theological argument. But I said, let me ask you this. Who is your hero, your spiritual hero? Of course, it was Jesus. I said, if Jesus walked into your cell in all of his glory, would you be worried about the devil? He said, no, I'd fall down and worship him. I said, yeah, you wouldn't be worried about the devil in that moment, would you? Because you would be in the light. That's why I never talk about it. For me, I'm in the light. There's only light. There's only love. There's only beauty, truth, peace, beauty, harmony. It's all light. Once you understand that that's the underlying truth of your life, you don't have to concern yourself. It's not that things won't continue to happen. People are, to a large degree, living in a diminished awareness of good. But that does not mean that the good isn't there. I love what Gandhi said. For a time, tyrannies arrive, tyrants arise, and for a while, they look invincible. But they always fall. Think of it. Always. So the appearance of evil is just that. It's an appearance, and it can appear for quite a while. But they always fall. Evil always disappears, just like the darkness disappears when you bring a light into a room. So I'm asking you today to practice as your homework, calling everything good. Everything. So say that one more time. This too is God. This too is good. And the Bible has a wonderful phrase in it. It is done unto you. Let's everybody do that. As you believe. Yeah. As you believe, it's done unto you. So be willing to believe that God is all there is. It's an ocean of being from which we all arise. We are expressing that power. And that's all there is. The only thing that there is God. And you are part of it. And so it is. At this, the Cedar Brothers Band featuring John Taylor.